as you guys know, the job market is really, really tough. And if you made money in 2022, 2023, 2024, and all of a sudden money's starting to dry up, it gets harder to make, financial struggles because the economy's not doing so great. Today I got the video for you. And we are once again at a car dealership in the background. So we're gonna go over some craziness that I've seen with car dealers. So I got the trusty Metas, so we're gonna film. Hopefully we can film without them noticing. So we're gonna do that and see at some sticker prices because I've seen some absolutely crazy stuff going on. People upside down 10, 20, 50, 100 plus $1,000, and they all have one common issue, right? They all made money during COVID, and they said, hey, I can afford this. I've made 10, 15, 20 plus thousand, and all of a sudden it's just starting to dry up. They can't make it anymore. They're not as fluent with their cash as they used to be, and all of a sudden it starts to dry up. So I got this article right here from I think this was Business Insider, and it says, I'm still looking for a job 8 months after I got laid off. I have 20 years of experience and I can't get hired. I'm scared. And this person is actually in the healthcare field. So people that are saying, oh, healthcare is never going to be affected. Well, if you don't have the right degrees, because I think she didn't finish her master's, and so it's truly difficult on her. And if she went to a car dealership just like this, then and bought a car that she could afford at the time, and now she can't, she made a wrong gamble. Most likely she's going to be upside down. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to watch a car dealer, and I'm going to turn the Metas on, and we're going to see some crazy prices that they have, and then we're going to go over some numbers because it just doesn't make sense. Nothing really makes sense. I don't know what these people were thinking, and I'm interested to hear what you guys are thinking because this is just absolutely crazy. So let's watch this video.
A 2022 Mercedes GLE 63S and a 2020 Maserati.
How many miles are on the GLE 63S?
So that's about 91,000 miles.
Okay. And then how many miles are on the Maserati?
70,000.
70. You done some driving, huh?
Yeah. I actually rent the Maserati out from time to time.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Gotcha. Where are you located?
Delray Beach.
Florida.
I got the Mercedes about a year and a half ago in Miami, and you're not going to like this, but I paid almost $100,000 since I rolled over negative equity for it on my last deal.
Okay.
Right now, I'm paying about $2,200 a month at a 19% interest rate for the Mercedes, and I put $10,000 down.
Jessica!
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah,
19%? You weren't, you didn't think about these things? Like when you were trying to buy this car, like that seems a little bit high?
Well, at the time, I was making enough money where I wasn't really worried about it, and things have changed, and I'm kind of in desperate need of the money right now.
Okay. All right. $2,200 a month, 19% interest rate on the Mercedes, and then you put $10,000 down. How much do you owe on it?
I think I owe about almost $82,000.
Okay, $82,000 you pay. All right. Now the Maserati.
For the Maserati, I got that for almost $50,000, and I'm paying $1,100 a month at like a 17% interest rate, and I owe close to $41,000 on that.
I hope you rented out enough to cover that payment.
I used to, but it's slowing down.
Jessica.
I know.
What's your credit score?
It's between something like 610, 620, somewhere in there.
Again, I'm not trying to call you out. It's just, when you read these numbers and you just see them, I'm telling you right now, there's no money you're going to make from either of these. You're going to have to come out of pocket. How much money do you have saved up?
Right now, close to $7,000.
Okay, and then how much money do you make a month right now?
Well, I used to make between $15,000 and $20,000, but now probably pulling in about $5,000 a month.
Yeah, this song is being sung too many times due to make $20K a month. What happened?
Trading. I was in investments.
You were in investments, or what do you mean?
Yeah, I would buy and sell different options.
Oh, you were an option trader. Gotcha. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right. How long have you been doing that?
Not too long. I kind of started right around the time I got the cars.
What was an option strategy they used to use?
Well, just different options. I would buy and I would sell based on the market. I had a mentor, so basically they would tell me the best times to buy and sell, and I would go based off that.
You're just one of those communities that do call outs and you would make money off them?
Yeah, pretty much.
See,
basically like an online mentorship.
See, Jessica, everything that glitters ain't gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercedes, I'm going to plug it in. $32,000 in negative equity on the Mercedes. And the Maserati, you're going to hate me. It's worth about $19,000 on that one. So,
41.
So let's just call it 20,000 on that, 32. So you have about $52,000 in negative equity, and you only have 7 grand saved up. Credit score's around a 629. There's nothing I can do, Jessica. If Audi couldn't do it, Mercedes couldn't do it. There's nothing that I can do. Again, it's not to not help you do a deal. I appreciate you calling me and trying to make a deal happen, but at the same time, it's just the numbers don't make sense. I mean, what I can advise Jessica is probably call the banks and see if they can work something out with you, like a payment arrangement, and they've lost 70%, 75% of your income or more. Call the bank, see if they do a payment arrangement on it. If not, I mean, you might have to charge it to the game and do a voluntary repossession and try to get something cheaper until you get more money and get out of it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you looking into it.
No worries, Jessica. Well, hopefully your situation gets better. Happy New Year. Hopefully the new year starts out with a lot more blessings and a better situation, but it's going to happen. Stop trading options, Jessica. This is how you got in the mess in the first place.
I'm done with it.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Bye, Jessica. Bye.
So it seems to me like they got a new thing going where they scan the QR code, so then they only have to change it on the website and not print the new sticker price. But all of these sticker prices, one of them had like 3 of them on there, so even those are given up. And so this woman is super interesting because this person was making real good money, and all of a sudden she is not. She is just upside down as you wouldn't believe it. So let's look at some numbers. This is what the channel's all about, right? So this woman had a car loan of probably $100,000 for 84 months with a 22% interest rate, and she put $10,000 down. She's paying $2,100 a month. $2,100 a month. And now you're like, well, $2,100 a month, if it all would go towards the principal, it'd be pretty super simple, right? Well, 49% is going towards interest and 51% is going towards the principal. So 41% is pure profit for the banks. And this is absolutely horrible. When you spend 49% of your money just going towards the profit for the bank, for the lender, maybe some to the car dealer, and they probably upsold her on the interest rate, is absolutely bananas, because the total cost of that car is going to be $196,000 once she's done paying for it. $196,000, you can buy an investment property, you can do something else with that money rather than just giving it to the bank. And so I did the same calculation with a 6% interest rate. If you have good credit, you can go to a credit union, you can kind of get something like that. So with a 6% interest rate, same numbers, same everything, she would only pay 19% towards the interest and 81% towards the principal. And this would save her $70,000 over the time of the loan. And if she would then take those $700 that she was going to pay extra and put that towards the principal, then that would be even better, because she will then have more money to invest later on or do something else with it rather than just giving it to the bank. So I looked at it and it's like, how do people do this? How do people even go about all of that kind of stuff? So I looked at Mercedes-Benz, because when I buy cars, and I always try to get something with 0% interest if I get a loan, or something used like my Mustang. So it's only like, my Mustang I think has a retail value of $20,000, $30,000. That's what it's worth if I trade it in. So super, super cheap for nowadays cars, right? So now let's look at what Mercedes offers to buyers. So Mercedes does not usually offer 0% financing, but enabled promotions, if they can't move it, they'll offer a little bit lower rate. And one of the things that I love is when they do offer 0%, because then you just know that everything goes towards the principal and you can kind of get ahead with your payments, because it's just absolutely nuts. So I looked at her Maserati deal, and Maserati does not offer 0% interest, even though they should, because who's going to buy a Maserati and they depreciate like a rock. So I looked at from my local Maserati dealer in downtown Vegas. So the Maserati Ghibli is for 4.9% financing, and the Levante 4.9, and they kind of are like almost 5%, right? And is this bad? I think it is for Maserati, because it just depreciates like crazy, right? So now let's look at what you gonna spend if you're gonna go and buy one of these cars. $60,000 I took, because for 60 grand you can get probably something pretty decent. And if you do $60,000 and you put 0 trade-in, 0 negative equity, and you're gonna do just out the door 60,000, and you have 0% interest, it's gonna be $1,000 for 60 months, right? So now let's starting to change it up a little bit. So let's say you have an interest rate of 4.2% because you have really good credit and you got something that wasn't that didn't qualify for 0%. So all of a sudden you're paying $100 more, and it's basically 10% of your money is going towards the interest, basically just pure profit. It's going to get more interesting though, because when I take the same thing, the same $60,000, and the interest rate is 9.6%, all of a sudden it jumps to 21%. That's just pure interest, so pure profit. And the principal is only going to be 79%, right? And these are all with good credit and new cars and everything else, right? So now let's look at what a $60,000 price tag with 14% is. That's if you don't have excellent credit, if you bought a used car. I think CarMax starts at about 11 to like 29%. So most likely if you go used, you're somewhere in there. And all of a sudden you're paying 28% interest and you're paying only 72 towards the principal. And all of a sudden you're starting to pay that you're paying a $23,000 extra towards your car, right? This isn't any depreciation. It's just pure profits for the bank. You're not paying for maintenance, nothing else. It is just interest alone. And this is just general numbers, but you kind of get the deal. And one of the things that I'm always talking to you guys is that you got to make sure that when you finance something, when you're going to go out and buy these Mercedes, it's not an impulse buy. And I know a lot of you guys say, oh, we all buy stuff off emotions and all this other stuff. And I always say, hey, if you can buy something that you can afford, it has to be a month that you're on the low end, not the high end. So this person from the car dealer made about $15,000. If she made $15,000 consecutively over a year or so, you're pretty decent. But stock trading is something that is not 100% guaranteed. And even in my business, I have the highest highs and the lowest lows. Some months, I'm just doing fantastic and I'm making money like crazy. And then the other months, I have refunds, I have employees quit, I have new training, I need to invest in new employees, and I have equipment that breaks. And all of a sudden, you're not that cash flow positive. So that one month that you're super cash flow positive, another month you might be in the negative. That is why I drive a 2019 Ford Mustang and not a nicer car, because sometimes I just can't justify it. I just can't say, hey, let me go and get another one or get me a more expensive one, because I have months where I do so great that I was like, oh, I can easily afford a triple or quadruple that. And then other months I'm like, oh shit, thank God I do not have that issue, because it's just not looking good. And if you're in entrepreneurship, I wonder how you feel, because I feel almost like when you're into drugs and everything else, and you know people that are into drugs and they feel, oh, it feels so great when you're doing drugs, that's almost like entrepreneurship. I almost feel like that is because you have such high highs and such low lows. When the month isn't going great, when you're not having, you're not closing deals, you're not, your salespeople aren't closing for some time, and it's seasonal, right? And you just can't do it, and you're like, oh my gosh, is this ever gonna stop? And then the next day, you close this account, you do this, and all of a sudden, you're like up on top of the world again. So it fluctuates from super highs to lows, and yeah, so I'm like, man, and so I cannot go out and justify spending something like that on a car. Even though I had months where I made $15,000, $20,000, I could not go out and buy a Mercedes like that, because it's just not wise. It's just not smart. And so now I wonder how many people are in that same spot, because there's nurses that are being let go. There's so many other people that just can't make it. They just can't make the payments anymore, that they lost their job. They did all this other crazy stuff and lost their job. They closed the departments down, no fault of their own. And now you're like, oh shit, I can't afford what I've got going. That's why it's so crazy that's why you gotta be so crazy about the lifestyle creep, right? You get used to things that are very, very nice. And if you do not make the money, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's not good. Because if you have the lifestyle creep, and I'm always like worried about that you're just you constantly have to make more because all of a sudden you're starting off at 100,000, you're feeling good. You make 150, you make 200, and you keep making more. And then it's like, oh, I got a nicer apartment, oh, I got a nicer car. And at the end of the day, it's still the same amount of money that's being left over as that is. And look at that. People are pushing their cars, probably broken down. It's a Honda too, shouldn't be broken down. So I do not know what that is all about. So yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy. So back to my video where I'm like, hey, if you are in that situation, send them my video and say, hey, it might not be that you're going to be making this forever. Let me know what you guys think, and this is why I drive my 2019 Ford Mustang, and she is just gorgeous. I love it. She's actually my second Mustang that I owned, and yeah, I got her washed the other day. Looks nice. The tint's way too dark. That was one of the mistakes I did. I put a super dark tint on it, and now at nighttime I have to have the windows down because the tint's just too dark. But with Allie being home at nighttime, we always take her car because I'm just like, okay, gotta do it. So if you haven't, please like and subscribe. I do videos like this all the time. Let me know what you guys think. Is this something that I'm completely off on? Let me know. But hey, if you're in that situation, bankruptcy or something, or give it voluntary repossession, do something, and talk to a financial advisor of what the best strategies are. And I hope you learn from that lesson, because as an adult, every lesson costs money. And I'll see you in the next one.